Hey, it's Ed with Slow Car Fix, and today I'm going to be working on my 55 Chevy. I'm going to attempt to figure out something for the inner door structure, the inner quarter structure, from where I've converted it from a 4-door to a 2-door. Before anyone asks, and they always do, yes, I've seen DD Speed Shop, and yes, I talked to Dan, and yeah, he does these things real quick. He and I are not on the same page on how quick we can get them done. I can't get done that quick. So anyways, I have learned a lot from him though, and he was actually helpful with me getting started on my YouTube journey. So I thank him for that. Anyway, here we go. My inner quarter panels, I don't have one. You can see the seam in which I welded in a new panel on the bottom, and there's parts that I made on the top from doors and whatnot. This is an aftermarket door frame or window frame, most of it. New rockers, new floor. Yeah, there's a lot. So what I've got to do is I got to figure out what's going on in here, and this has kind of been something that's bothering me for a while, is what to do about what is happening in here and the rear window and all that stuff. So I decided a long time ago that I'm going to go with fixed back windows. I was just trying to figure out how I was going to do that, and I had kicked around the idea of putting in the roll-up back window glass, because I have some of that, and just trying to make that work and make it look like a roll-down window. But then I was talking to a local Trifive guy that sells Trifive parts. I bought my floor from him. And he mentioned that the 150s all had fixed back glass with a rubber seal. And this car is a Bel Air originally. It's originally a 4-door. But I've got all 210 trim for it because it's a little simpler look, cleaner look, less crap around the windows and stuff. And I really like the Bel Air trim on the Bel Airs when it's all there, but when you don't have it and you have to gather it all, it's a lot, and I don't really need it. So anyways, I've decided I'm going to go with a fixed back window. A couple of reasons for that. My son is long moved out. He's like 24. It's just my wife and I and the dog. This car I actually intend to have air conditioning in because I have a 6-liter LS for it. This is, out of all my cars, this is going to be the only old car I have that has air conditioning. And this is the one that we're planning on road tripping with. So I've got the whole road trip in the back of my head for this. So I'm going to go with a fixed back window. I still have a lot of stuff to do to be able to make that work. One of the things that I need to make that work is I need a shelf for the window to sit on. Now the shelf can be wherever, because I can just make up things. Nothing is going to be original here. If you're looking for an original 55 Chevy, it's not the right channel. This one's a mess. So one of the things that I've got to do is have a shelf for the window to sit on, and it can be anywhere. It can be an inch lower than a 150 would be. It can be whatever. I'll make it work. I'm not worried about that. I also need some strength on the inside of the door, or the inside of the quarter. It's important to me that this car is strong. I've welded everything that was supposed to be spot welded. I've welded solid. There's a lot of reasons for that. We had a bad accident with the classic car not long ago where we got T-boned. It was a very good, solid car, and it saved our bacon. And I don't anticipate anything like that happening with this, but it is a very pieced together car, so it's important to me that we keep it strong. So what am I going to do? I had kicked around. A friend of mine has a laser cutting business, and I had kicked around getting him to laser cut me a panel that matches there. And really, that's kind of not, it kind of accomplishes what I want, but it also doesn't, because it's just a flat piece of steel. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take a cue from Dan at DD Speed Shop, and I'm going to give it a shot. And this is the carcass of my rear door. I've taken the skin off it. The skin donated a long time ago to the quarter panels on this car. I figure this can be my shelf. This shelf-looking area can be my shelf. So I've measured it. It's roughly 27 by 26, which is kind of what I need, close to what I need. I think it's close enough I can make it work. So I think the next step is to take all the guts out of this crap. I do like that I'm going to end up with this access panel, because I do like to be able to access in there after. I've coated it all, but it'd be nice to be able to get in there to oil it. It's going to have a homemade-ish custom interior anyway, so it doesn't really matter about trying to fit stock 55 interiors. I'm not really worried about that. Is this going to work? I don't know. I'm going to give it a shot. I think it'll be close. I think this will work as a shelf. I've got a radius here, but might not be the right radius anymore because I've redone the wheel wells. But I think this is enough to work with. So I'm just going to start taking it apart, cutting it apart, and I have 2 of them, and then start seeing if I can fit it in. I'm going to start on the passenger side. I've started everything on this car on the driver's side, and everything I've had to do 2 or 3 times. So I'm going to start on the passenger side this time and see how that goes. So I'll start on tearing this door apart and cutting it up. Okay, so I've got the door apart and I've got some things measured up. That was interesting. The door, it doesn't come apart very easy. Maybe because it's got a pile of crap on it, but I'm curious, how do you change this rear glass if the front part of your door is still there? I was able to get it out. There's the glass. I was able to get it out because my door has no front. How does that come out? I'm curious, because that's a lot of work. I undid all the stuff that you would do from the inside of the car, and it didn't look like I was getting anywhere with getting the glass out, and it came out through the front. So the glass is broken, but I don't really care. But let me show you what I've got going on here. So I measured this out. 26 inches takes me to across here. It's about, from the piece that I've got welded in the back to about the door jamb is 25 and change, 25 and 5/8 or something. The interesting part, remember I need a shelf, right? And I need the shelf to be roughly about, one would think, the same height that this is from this outer piece. I'm also going to save this outer piece. But so if I go to the V notch and I come down to the bottom of this door, it's about 25 1/4, right? To that edge. Now, if I go to the car, and I measure from this lip in the one-piece floor, sorry about making you feel woozy. See if I can do this, up to where I think it ought to be, and it's about 26 to the top of the V. Gives me about a 3/4 inch drop if I go for that shelf. So I think if I take the inside of the door and sit it on the height of that floor rail, that's going to be pretty close. In case you haven't seen the other videos, I replaced all the inner wheel wells, I've replaced everything. So let me see. I'm going to cut that down roughly. I'm going to cut it big, and just cutting it with the death wheel on the grinder. And yes, all my guards are intact. Yeah, I don't know why people, well, I do know why people do it, for access, but once you get used to having it on there and just leave it on, you know, it's just safer. I've got lots of scars from them coming apart. So I'm going to hack this thing apart. Yeah, and then we'll see how it roughly fits in. I think what I'm going to do is I'll just cut, I'll cut these off here on each side, just above there. This is going to be sort of a straight down eyeball. This guy here, maybe I'll just cut along this lip for now and save as much of this, because there's some strength in this side piece, and I don't care if that's hiding in the quarter panel. It doesn't matter, but it gives it a lot of strength and rigidity. So I think I'll do that. And maybe I'll just, for now, I'll just cut it all the way along here, along that flange, and I'll see how it fits in there and start shrinking it from there. So far, I've successfully mangled and made a mess. Hey, this is a tech tip. See these two little tabs here? That's because grinders are not supposed to lay this down. They lay like that. I had worked on I don't know how many projects and how many cars before somebody told me that. And Roy, if you're ever watching this stuff, thank you. Anyway, check this out. It almost looks like something. So let me climb on in here and show you what's going on. Okay, now first off, it's too long, it's too high, it's too big, but this is definitely going to work. This is the way I'm going for sure. It is, don't mind me, I'm just trying to walk around in here and not fall on my face. All right, so the shape almost is the right shape, because imagine that, the door came out of here, but I did have to do a lot of work on these wheel wells, so I wasn't sure how that would go. I see there's some sort of little piece of crap there that I got to cut off. I need to cut this off here. Ultimately, I think this track all needs to come out, and I've got a little bit more here from where I left that in that's got to come out, and I got to make some metal there, but you know, add that to the list. But for this project, what I think has to happen is I didn't cut the bottom out of the door like I said I was leaving it too big. So I need to cut that out and cut it where I thought, which is right at the bottom of this. And then that'll get in a little further. I need to cut this guy off at the top. What else do I need to do? I need to cut this off and that little tab off, and then I'm probably closer to getting it in the right spot. It's almost going to look like it sort of was part of a car at one time, but mind you, there's lots of things here that don't look that way. But this V should be, will that line up? It lines up kind of right now, but I don't think it's going to line up. But anyways, it'll be close. Does that need to go? Does that matter? Maybe that needs to go there. Maybe that needs to go there. Oof. If so, then I still have some work to do. What am I going to do there? Hello. So I screwed up a couple things. That happens. What I realized though, so my approach of more is less, more is more. My approach was wrong. You can't, I wanted to start big and make it smaller, but then I kept making it smaller and I made it too small. So what my approach was to try and put it on the lip on the floor, and I think what I need to do is put it on the inner part of the quarter. So what I've got here is, I think if I do it like so, if you can see that, I don't know if you can, I can tack it in place, and I cut it a little short on the jam end. So I have to put some filler pieces in there. I think I'm gonna end up like beefing this up quite a bit, but this is gonna get me close to where I need to be. And then this won't be the right shape for the window frame, just because it just won't. So, because of reasons. I think what I'm going to do is, when I have the glass and everything, then I can shim this or cut this or whatever. But in the meantime, I'm just going to get this tacked in here and start getting some structure in here. So far, it's going to make the other side a lot easier, because I know what doesn't work on this side. Okay, I tried having the camera in the car and it was kind of a disaster. So I've already wrecked one of these GoPros and they're expensive, so I don't really want to do that. Yeah, so I've got something happening. Not really sure what. I've got that structure sitting there, and I've got a bunch of pieces of scrap holding it in place. I think what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to spend too much time at the top, because the top could change depending on the window, and I might have to do something with the back. So I really need the window and the seal, which I'm in the process of ordering. It's the holidays, so So I need that to be able to determine the top. So that might have to change, and I might have to extend that shelf, you know, towards the window a little bit. Obviously, like I said, I cut that too short, but that's going to be okay because I kind of want the steel to be the way I want it to be. So this is just really a chunk that's going to fill the middle. That's going to add some strength. How? I'm not really sure yet. So I've hashed this around a little bit, and I think the other side is going to be a lot different than this side on how I start and where I finish. What I think I'm going to do here is undo everything that I've done. Unfortunately, I won't be able to add on to this side. But the problem is, my initial thought was take out like this pillar's gone, and then I could just slide this door back, but then this V doesn't line up. But then I'm fighting a lot here to make this V line up when really it doesn't matter, and I'm going to have to make something there anyways. So I don't know that I really like that. The reasoning for this not being against there is because there would have, from factory, been a door jamb there, and I cut that all out, right? So I think what I'm going to do, I do like how I'm down on the outside there, because then I can eventually hammer that all flat and then weld that all the way across, so that's kind of cool. I'm going to have to make a piece that goes on this side. There's just no way about it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all this crap off, slide this back, cut this flush here, slide this back, because right now, like I have to make a piece on this side and I have to make a piece on this side to accommodate this, that I really have to extend inward this way anyway. It makes no sense. So I'm going to cut this scrap out, cut that scrap out, cut that scrap out, slide that back, weld this down, then I can weld like 2/3 of it, right? 2/3, half, some sort of a fraction. I can weld all the way down there. I can weld that all the way across there, and that'll be good. And then I have to make a piece for the front, which is okay, because there's a lip here, so I can just make it from there over. I should probably add some sort of structure here. I don't really know what. I did save the old door pillars just in case. But this top piece is going to end up getting cut off. So it's not as seamless as I thought. So hopefully when I show you the other side, and I will show you the other side, that it will go better than this, and that will give anyone that's doing this job a good example of what to do. Right now, this is an example of how not to do it. So let me dig into it a little bit more, and I'll bring you back to show you what I come up with. That's probably the easiest. It's a new day. It's a new year, actually. It's same me, same old car. New filters. People have asked before about me wearing this all the time, and I wear it under my, I wear it when I'm sweeping the floor. Welded for a long time for work, and I didn't wear it. I didn't wear a mask then, and I definitely noticed it. I noticed a big difference. People think it's uncomfortable to be under my shield. It is the first time, and then after a while, after the first few times, you feel naked if you don't have it on. The nice thing is when I go in after working all day in the shop, grinding, cutting, welding, I can go in and I'm not blowing black stuff out of my nose. I don't taste it. I don't taste the grinding. If any of you have done this work, you know what I'm talking about. I smell it on my clothes, and I got to lose my clothes as soon as I get in the door. But it definitely makes a big difference in the quality of life. It can, I assume it's going to help me live longer, who knows, but at the very least it's making my time here a lot more comfortable and my time in the shop a lot more comfortable. So let me show you where I've got. I really can't describe how this evolved. Today is New Year's Day. I was out here New Year's evening. Not much of a New Year's guy. If you guys have watched the channel, you've seen that I get a lot done on New Year's. Let me show you what I've got. It's going to be different on the driver's side, that's for sure, but it's strong. Okay, this is something. Whoa. Okay, we're in the car. So, any of you four-door guys will notice that this looks familiar. This is the outside of the door pillar that goes on the that goes between the two-door and the four-door. Would have lived right here. So this is the outside of it. I chose to add this in here, and I welded that all in solid in there. I chose to add that in, and I welded it in solid here, and it's welded in solid down here, because I realize this isn't going to be modern day standards, but in my 57 truck and my Bug and a couple of things, I've added shoulder belts. Like I mentioned before, I was in a car accident with an old car that had no seat belts, and yeah, even though they won't hold up to modern crash standards, not even close, I like to be held in the car. It's a good thing to have. So what I'll do is I'll probably put it like a nutsert in here later, and I can put a shoulder belt in this. So I'm gonna do that on the other side too. This is the door structure. Now this might look a little different, because what I did was I was concerned about where this V lined up, because my interior thing that goes around here, which I have here beside me, it's very important for this V to line up. Now this shelf that's here, I'm pretty sure from my research that this is too low, and I'm pretty sure that this that I've got going on over here is too high. So I haven't tied all this together yet, because I have an idea for that I'll show you guys in a minute. So I just stitched that in a couple of spots. I full welded all along the bottom. I full welded vertical both sides. Added this piece in because I cut this too short. And that might be what's different on the other side, is I might not have to have this piece, because I'll just leave the door longer. But what I will have to do, I wanted to take advantage of this radius that's here on the wheel well, and take advantage of this vertical piece, and be able to jam this door back. And normally there's a big pillar here that I cut out ages ago. So if I do that, that puts the V on the door back here somewhere. So what I did was I cut this top piece off and moved it all forward, lined up the V, and that leaves me with this gap that I have back here. I'll show this in depth, I think, on the other door, or the other inner quarter. I just kind of wanted to pound through this and see where I was going to end up. I'm going to have some work to do here to blend in around the window. I'm kind of going to leave this side to where it is right now, because once I get the glass, I'm going to have to build a shelf here at the proper height, which I don't know what it is until I have the glass here. I'm going to have to make tabs that hold the glass in. I'm going to have to make some sort of thing up here that holds the glass in, just like little tabs on screws. And I really don't know how that's all going to work until I have it here. I know that there's a difference between the width of this panel and the width of this factory panel. So likely what I'll do is I will widen this piece rather than narrow this piece. Just widen it on the inside, add a piece to it or something, or cut it, section it, move it out. That's not a huge deal. This is, I don't know how much welding wire I went through in here. I just got in the car with like every tool I could imagine and went at it. So I will, in the end, I will seam seal all the welds as I have with the entire car. I will paint this all with DOM 16. It's like a Pour 15 paint, but I prefer the DOM. And then I'll probably spray rubberized texture on it. And then ultimately I'll make a cover panel for this spot there, and this whole thing will get sound deadened before it gets an interior panel. That will not be stock interior panel, because it's going to have to be made to work with what I've got here. I like how this turned out. This is pretty good. It's welded in really solid in there. This adds some strength. It ties this piece to this piece. You know, I'm no engineer, but strong is strong, and the more, yeah, it's going to be heavy, but the more weight I can throw at it, the better I can get, because the factory stamped quarter panel here would have been a pretty key, important part of the structure of the car. This is the other side. This is just to show you kind of what I started with, and you know, I'll have the same challenges here. where this is slightly wider than that. I have to cut out this little piece here, which I did on the other side. And then, you know, this is like a hollow panel. So I'll have to fill that in with the same thing, that piece from the door jamb. Now here's the rest of the door post. You can see I cut the top off it. That's what I was talking about. That's the door post that I cut out when I converted it. Just gives you a reminder to save everything. I've hated having this stuff around, but it's really handy right now. That's a good thick piece of metal. It's a couple layers thick, so that was good. My thought process here, if you see the outside, let me get out of the light here. If you see the outside of this piece here, I have this on both doors. I'm thinking that because this has this shape here, and it's sort of flat on the top, that this can be my glass shelf, that I'll cut this on each side and install this. Now it'll have to be opposite because this is going to be on the inside. So this is the passenger side door, but this piece will have to go on the inside of the driver's side, and obviously the other way around with this driver's side door, because I'm hoping the glass can sit on that, or at least it gives me something. See if I drop that. It gives me something to work with, that if I have that shape and I weld that in there, then I can add to it and make this face here longer, and that'll give me a place for the window to sit. But like I said, I really can't tell the depth, the height that should be from the window opening until I have the glass and the rubber seal here. Yeah, so I'm out of welding gas. I have more, but before I change my bottle, I'm going to go in and clean up and have lunch with my wife. And then I'll come back out and probably start on the other side. And I think this is one of those things, like, if you've ever trimmed a tree before, you start trimming the tree, and you're taking a leaf or a branch or two off, and you think, oh, that's pretty good, and then you just keep going and going and going and going and going because you got the saw in your hand, and next thing you know, you've just got a trunk. If I keep welding this and adding stuff to the top and whatever, invariably I'm going to have to cut some back out because it's not going to be right, because I'm really just guessing. So I need to leave this alone on this side. There's a little piece over on the rocker that I might make, but then I need to leave this side alone and move on to the passenger side, or the driver's side. And yeah, look at this nice door skin. You can't really even tell. That's the door skin I was not wanting to show you in my last video. If you look inside the door, seam seal, DOM 16 paint, and rubberized undercoat over top of that. And really, you can see the line, but you can't tell, and it won't rust. So I'm quite happy with how that turned out. And yeah, I wish I was that good when I started this car. Not that I'm that good, but I wish I had that skill level when I started this car, because I wouldn't have had to redo so many things. But hey, it's been a learning process. I'm learning how to work sheet metal, and then I'm going to learn how to do body work, because I don't really have any choice. Okay, here's round two. This is the inside of the door of the driver's side. I've taken all the crap out of it. By crap, I mean regulators, glass, all that stuff. I still didn't get a better way to take the glass out, so but I'm going to save the regulators in case maybe they line up with two-door doors. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to get rid of them just yet. I'm going to get rid of the glass and the rest of this crap. So where I'm going to cut this, I'm going to make this a lot easier. I'm going to cut this top off straight across because I need to anyways. And then I'm going to cut along this body line all the way across the bottom. And I'm going to cut, I think I'll cut in a little bit here. I'll have to look and see what I did on the other one. But it's going to cut right here, and I'm going to leave some of this meat around the corner because there's strength in that, leaving that radius in. So I'm going to probably take, I don't know, maybe I'll leave 2 inches. And then I'll taper that back to here to where it's at the edge. And then I'll have a piece that I can stick in there. Like I said, this one will be cut at the edge. So what I'll do is this will hang over the door pillar. And then I'll be able to mark it and cut it back in the car. And that should save me a bunch of time. And it should save me making that big giant piece that I had to make on the other side. Also, like I said, I'll cut this straight across. And then I'll weld this in after. I'll line the V up. Because that was the things I was fighting, was where this V is positioned. Which ironically is not in line with the outside. Where that V is positioned versus where this sits, this radius sits, that's kind of the key. And it's interesting that that's not lined up. Oh, this is lined up with there. Okay, I see. So I'm close. So by not having that piece on and then having a little more out of the way, it should go a lot quicker, I hope. Okay, I have done for today. I'm not sure. I think I'll bring you back. I think I'll bring you back and show you what it looks like when it's painted and stuff. And then I'll do a separate video on the glass install once I get the glass and stuff. But I want to show you a couple of things before I wrap up for today. It is a giant mess in here, so I gotta spend some time doing that. Let me show you. Okay, so that's what's left of my doors. And my door posts. You can see that I got my money's worth out of them. It's a little dusty in here. I might actually have to uncork my exhaust fan and turn it on. So here we are. I welded that across. I welded in this vertical piece, gobbled in a bunch of solid weld the best I could in there. Welded up top. Welded this all the way down. The only thing I have left to do is I've got to finish in something here at the quarter, which I have to do on the other side as well. It's just not as pronounced on the other side. This worked out way better doing it this way. The other thing I want to show you is, remember I was talking to you earlier about the shelf and the outside door. So this is the piece from the outside door, and I think that I can just, obviously that's too high right now, but once I know my window height, and it has to be in a bunch. Once I know my window height, I can either cut this or cut this. It's always best to cut the piece that you're putting on the car, not what's on the car already. But I'll cut something, and I'll use this as a shelf, and that'll give me a good spot for the window to sit. And then, hey, I'll do the same on this side. Same thing. That'll go in there somewhere. Which what might have made it redundant to put this piece on, but I don't think so. I think I'm just going to end up cutting this lip off and then cutting this down, so I'm just using the top of this and sort of extending this lip inward, something like that. Because this angle's not going to be right, because it's not the same angle as that. I didn't get too fussy in that. I just wanted some material in there. And then I'm going to have to change that when I know the height of the window, and then I have to do some modifications in there, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So the window is going to be a job in itself, but that all has to happen long before I get into doing paint work and stuff. But where I think I'm at now is I can clean this crap up. See, it's all welded there vertically. It's all solid welded all the way down here, so it's good and strong. And like I said, all these holes will get covered, probably just with sound deadening and stuff, but that's fine. And then I'll make an access cover plate for those sides. Well, I guess I could just get one for a four-door, or look around and see if I've got one for each side. But fortunately, I can do that. And it's all welded solid across the bottom. It's solid. It's in there. It's not going anywhere. It's part of the car, which gives strength to this here. This pillar, as I mentioned, this guy here just gives me a little bit more meat than sheet metal to throw a confidence-inspiring shoulder belt that, like I said, won't pass any safety ratings or crash tests, but it'll probably keep you from ejecting from the car, so that'd be good. So I'm going to do that, but right now I got a lot of cleanup. If you can as well, you Trifive experts, please let me know if these window crank things work on a two-door as well as a four-door. I'm not going to get rid of them. I've got the latch hardware and all that stuff. I'm sure that won't work. I do have some of this, the things that go inside the windows. I've got the two-door ones as well. They're here somewhere. I was playing with them. There's one of them. So that's good, because I know that Dan on DD Speed Shop, he often modifies them, the four-door ones, and extends them, or shortens them, or he does something with them. I don't have to do that because I got these a while ago. But I think I've got everything I'm going to get out of this pile of crap here. The hinges I'm not going to save because I've got a bunch of hinges, because I've had a bunch of doors. The glass is broken. I'll just hang on to the regulators. I'll get rid of the bottoms of the posts. I'm not getting rid of my fender. And then I've got a lot of cleanup to do. Okay, it's a few days later. There's been lots going on, so I completely forgot that I was going to paint this, seam seal it, and show you the finished product. I've changed my mind. What I'm going to do is end the video here, and I'm going to start the next one. I'm going to finish some welding on the inside that I've already been working on, and I'm gonna paint and seam seal the interior and the whole interior of the car, I believe, other than around the window frames, and do a whole video on it. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos, and lots more to come on this project.